Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Zach Young, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Randa Massawi, founder of Massawi Consulting, a strategic partner for small to medium SaaS and service-based companies. Randa helps businesses solve operational challenges, enhance efficiency, and reduce team overwhelm through expert product management, process optimization, and organizational change management. Her tailored approach empowers teams to build strong foundations for scalable growth and sustainable success. Randa, a very warm welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Going to be a great episode, a lot to dive into. Before we do, though, I do like to start with your background a little bit, though. So before Massawi Consulting, can you walk us through what were you doing and what was really your inspiration to get into this space?
Yeah, so I started in the United Nations. My background is in industrial engineering, which is the foundation of operations, how you work, how the business should operate, processes, etc. I went to the UN and my boss came and he was like, we have a project, you're on it. Gave me the details and he was like, here's my office. If you need me, come find me. And fresh out of uni, I was like, what am I doing? But the project was basically implementing new health and safety rules and regulations across the textile industry in Jordan. And that's what I ended up doing. So bridging the gap, getting people around one table to just talk about it. We did successfully end up changing the law and ended up changing a lot of the rules and regulations, especially for those factories, because there's a lot of international concern about like if a fire happens, what happens? How do you get people out? It all started from a fire that happened in Bangladesh, and a lot of the textile industry actually manufactures in those countries, Lesotho, Jordan, Egypt, Turkey. So, all of those big brands, they don't manufacture in North America. They go outside because of the trade agreements. So they get really cheap ends up the cost being so cheap with shipment and manufacturing and labor and all of that in comparison to doing it here. So yeah, that was my intro to change. That was my intro to how do I get people to really talk to each other? How do I get this implemented? What do I need to do? From there, I went to the IT industry. So I've been in IT industry for, where are we, 2007. So that's what, less than 20 years, by roughly speaking, 15.
Wow.
I've helped a lot of companies go through digital transformation, which meant that I'm looking at people, process, and technology. It was very eye-opening because you find companies that are similar yet different. You find the different cultures that really either bolster everything that you're doing or toss it in the trash because they don't want it. So from there, I also did business as a master's to just bridge the gap between two worlds. And it allowed me to have that business language that you don't get taught in engineering school. So really just a lot of different industries that I've worked in that had the same problems. How do I transform? How do I change? How do I grow? How do I make this stick? And you find that there's always like the underlying people, process, and technology, not problems, but that's like your foundation that you need to look at. But also, how do I communicate all of that? Because sometimes changes top to bottom, but it's not communicated throughout. And then when you reach the bottom, the people that are actually doing the day to day, what the like people at the top want does not match what is actually being done. So that's where I was like, all right, I want to help more people. And I'm very passionate about the smaller businesses because like the big eights and the big consulting companies are great, but their target audience is the bigger companies because there's the money for it. The smaller companies need the help. They need that expert voice that comes to the table and helps them and sees things differently and like really integrates with them and still helps them grow. So that's where Massawi Consulting came to light, and that's where the focus is.
Love it. Love it. I got to say, that is quite the project right out of university.
I know.
You were thrown to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, it also taught me a lot about myself, which is like You can toss whatever you want on me. I can easily figure it out. You stumble, you fall, you think it through. It was quite a learning experience.
I bet. A good one. It's,
A
hey,
very
your
good
early
one.
20s, like it's good to be thrown to the wolves a little bit, looking
A
back at
very
it.
good one. Like we're talking about bringing people from ministries of health and labor, from like investors, from the CEOs and the founders of those factories. Like those factories are making billions of dollars in annual revenue. I had to think through, how do I get those people around the same table? How do I get them to agree? How do I get, like, it was such a great experience.
Love it. I think that brings us very well into today. Could you walk us through Massawi Consulting today? Just walk us through the work you're doing. I know you're doing a lot of work with small businesses these days. Walk us through the type of small businesses you're working with, everything like that.
Yeah, so a lot of the businesses I work with are looking to grow, but don't know how. Don't know what, like they've tried several things, for example, but nothing worked. So there's that, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I do this? What am I missing? So that you need that outsider perspective because you come in fresh and you look at
Mm.
it in a different light than when, people are in the weeds and trying to solve for those problems. So that's really in a nutshell. Like I come in, I integrate. I don't do it, here's the solution, you go figure it out. No, like I actually sit with you, I learn what you do end to end, map the processes, understand like where the problems are. So every single solution that I've outlined, every single project that I've helped implement has been tailored to every company because the need is different. The growth objectives are different. Some people are like, I want to branch out. Some people are like, I want to increase my revenue. Okay, so how do we do it? What is your objective? Do you have the right people? Do you have the right tools? Do you even have the right processes mapped? Some people, I can't tell you how many workshops I've done where people are like, I don't know what my next step is. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's always that firefighting mentality that people have in smaller companies. So the idea is to move away from it and into more like streamlined operations, even at a smaller scale. Like you should have it at a smaller scale as well. And the smaller you start, the better because it saves you money as you grow, as opposed to growing while you're still firefighting and not knowing what's happening and having to go and back solve it.
Challenge working with small business owners, right? They
Yeah.
can be a little stuck in their ways. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
and very in the weeds sometimes, which is another thing, is like a little bit of coaching as well, because I'm the best person who does this. I don't trust anyone, or I'm the only one who does this because, or so you have to get them out of this mentality of, no, you're hiring, get out of that, like train someone. You can't be your bottleneck. You can't be the main bottleneck in a business. Like I had several companies that had the same kind of mentality for founders where they are the bottleneck. You can't do something without them giving their final sign off. But then you can't grow because they're too much in the weed as opposed to focusing on leading the business and growing the business. So
Mm,
it's a lot of mind shift and change management that comes with this kind of work.
absolutely. I'm curious, do you find yourself working with a specific niche of small business, or do you work with just a wide variety of businesses?
So I work throughout my career, I've worked with a wide variety of businesses, which has been honestly a blessing because you see different ways of things being done, different standards being implemented, and you've seen what works and what doesn't work. So I bring in that lens as well. I don't do things by the book just because the book said it. No, I try and mix and match things to so that it works for the business, but also keeping in mind like not just being a guinea pig and figuring it out, but you don't have to have every single control that a conglomerate has at a small business, but you have to have the right ones and factor in, okay, next stage I need this and this, and the next stage I need the next steps. So it helps build a different kind of foundation. So it's been a blessing, but right now I want to focus more on the service-based industries because those are like the bread and butter for a lot of us, right? Like your accounting services, your marketing, your even like the smaller ITs, like the managed service providers. So service businesses, SaaS solutions that are you go and implement systems. I find that those are doing it a lot of firefighting. Like I get the client, I figure out the project plan as opposed to no, This is how you do the project. This is how you scope for it. This is the questions you need to ask. So standardizing across those.
Yeah, I love it. And a change in a business, it doesn't happen overnight, right? Hey, I want to grow my revenue. I want to
No.
do X, Y, Z overnight.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen overnight. So I'm curious, how long does your typical engagement with these companies last for?
So I do it a little bit differently. I have a program that you can use it to get your feet wet and understand where you sit in the world as a business. That is like 25 hours. We look at strategy, we look at what's wrong with the operations, how to improve it. So out of it, you get like a blueprint. Now, if you're comfortable implementing those findings yourself, that's perfectly fine. But if you want help, that is where the scope is like the project is scoped. That is where we see how long the engagement is. Because, if you are implementing 3 systems and I have to look at the systems, I have to look at the people, and I have to figure out the process for everything, along with tying it to the right strategies and objectives, is very different from doing one system.
Mm,
So
absolutely.
so it depends on the scope, but I do it in a fractional manner. So specifically for smaller businesses, you're not paying an arm and a leg. You're paying like a little bit less because it's by the hour, because it's fractional work. So it still allows the expert to come in, the senior like the senior experience to come in at a more like digestible, I guess, fee.
That makes sense. Look
Yeah.
into the back end of the business for a second. How are these companies currently finding you to work with you?
So different ways. Sometimes I get contracts through recruiters. They come and say, "Hey, I have this 1-year contract. They need this help." So it's been scoped out already. Sometimes it's, "Hey, I have this company that just go have a chat and figure it out yourself." Referrals is another thing, and events. And I also lined myself up with other consultants. So we formed a partnership. Each one of us is our own company, but we're all niche in our own expertise. So I do ops, but if I find that you need HR, then I have someone for you. If you need
Hmm,
finance, then I have someone for you. So I bring a team of people as well with me when I scope, and I help that way as well. So it's
very
different
cool.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Does social media come into play at all?
A little bit. I'm not as good, and this is something I'm learning as I go, is like how, like what posts actually resonate with people more. So I'm experimenting on like how do I tell the story, because people consume things differently. So sometimes I add a little graph and I find that people are engaged with this graph as opposed to like the same story being told in a different manner without a graph. So I'm experimenting there, but I'm mainly on LinkedIn as opposed to anything else.
Nice. That makes sense. But the business world happens on LinkedIn, right? It's a little uptight sometimes, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but nothing we
Yeah.
can do about it. So you've been in
Yeah.
the consulting world a long time now, right? 2008 financial crisis, COVID, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
I'm curious, it's been a long time. What do you see coming for the consulting world in the future, right? With AI coming into play, what do the next 5 to 10 years look like for the consulting world?
I think AI is like really changing the way we do things, but I find that it does not, much to like people's beliefs, it does not remove us, whether as humans or consultants, because you can go and do, hey, type out and say, put a prompt, give me this process, but so what? You have the process, but have you analyzed it? Have you looked at what is working and not working? That's one aspect. With hybrid work, and I know a lot of people are going back to the office, but there's been a lot of change from that. So as more and more companies are adopting hybrid, you have to unify how things work. So that's another thing that I think people are not quite looking at it yet, especially like when you're hiring from different places, different systems are out there. I find that people just want to use whatever system is out there. That is great. And no, you got to figure out what really works for you. So there are those aspects that as people are jumping on the fast train, the role of a consultant and the role of specifically an ops person does not change, because you still
Mm,
need someone to come in and help you out. You still need someone to come in, help you look at things differently.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool right now, right? The human connection, for us to use the tool, to decipher the tool. That's where we're at
Yeah,
currently. And I hope it
yeah.
stays that way.
Me too, because yeah, it still does not remove the human aspect that you still need. You still need to
Mhm,
understand what is the tool spitting out at you. You know what I
mhm,
mean? So what? You gave me this. So what do I do with it? That's where you need someone to help you out. That's where like the
mhm.
human aspect comes in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rhonda, we talked offline a little bit that you've got something new coming, maybe
Yeah.
next year. Could you touch on that for a little bit?
Yeah, the company's called Volunteam. We are targeting the nonprofit world in Canada. We want to help bring or bridge the gap between volunteers and nonprofits. It's a way to give back to the community. It's a way to strengthen our ties. It doesn't matter if you're new to Canada or new to the province that you're in, you still need to feel like it's your home. So it's one way of building those networks, building those communities while also giving back to a cause that you're passionate about. There's a whole we're building the system. It's still very idea state, but it's coming.
I love it. Big things
Me
coming.
too.
I'm curious
Yeah.
about Massawi Consulting. Let's say in the future, let's say maybe the next
Mhm.
1 to 2 years. Are there any goals you've set for yourself in the business you're looking to achieve?
Yeah, of course. So I always want to grow, and with that, I want to hire. So I want to get obviously like more revenue so I can hire and expand on that. I'm always looking at what's greatest. So the offers obviously will probably change a little bit or add new offerings as we see what the market is or like where the world is going. So there's
Mhm.
always growth in terms of people, in terms of revenue, and in terms of offers, so that the smaller businesses can have the best out of everything.
Yeah, great goal to have. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Rhonda, where can the listeners find you? Where can they keep up with you online?
LinkedIn is definitely the best. So it's Massawi Consulting, or you can just add me, Randa Massawi, on LinkedIn. And yeah, feel free to just drop a DM and I'm quick to respond.
Love it. Rhonda, thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that will wrap up another inspiring episode of The Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go and connect with Rhonda on her LinkedIn. All of her links and her website will be in the show notes and description down below. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're looking to scale your business, and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from 0 to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.